When the SEALs were surrounded, the desert wind carried the sound of gunfire and desperation. Dust filled the air, every breath was heavy, and communication lines had gone silent. They had trained for every scenario, but this one was different. This was chaos unfolding in real time. The enemy had outflanked them, cutting off every exit route. It was supposed to be a clean mission, swift and quiet, but now it had turned into a fight for survival. The ridge to their north had been declared clear hours ago, their safety zone, their fallback position. No one expected life to come from that direction, but it did. Then, as if time itself paused, a single shot cracked through the air. Sharp, clean, precise. It wasn't just another bullet. It was a statement. The enemy marksman who had pinned down the SEALs fell instantly, and for a brief moment, silence returned. The team looked toward the ridge in disbelief. Who could be up there? That area had been swept, cleared, and logged. Yet there it was, a silhouette, barely visible through the scope of the leader's rifle. The shot had come from a position of mastery, from someone who knew exactly what they were doing. Minutes turned to moments of cautious hope as more precise rounds followed, each one saving a life, stopping an ambush before it could happen. The SEALs regained their ground, reorganized, and began pushing forward again. Whoever was up on that ridge wasn't just firing blindly. They were guiding the team, covering their moves, anticipating the enemy before they struck. It was like an unseen guardian had taken command of the battlefield from above, turning chaos into strategy. When the extraction was finally complete and the dust settled, the truth emerged. The sniper on the ridge was one of their own, presumed lost during an earlier mission. Against all odds, she had survived, evaded capture, and continued to watch over the area from her hidden vantage point. Her training, her endurance, and her sheer willpower had kept her alive long enough to return the favor, to save the very brothers who thought they'd lost her forever. From that day forward, her name became legend within the teams, not for medals, not for recognition, but for that one moment when a single shot changed the course of a battle. She reminded every SEAL that true warriors never leave their watch, even when the world believes they're gone. The ridge she once guarded became sacred ground, known among the unit as the Guardian's Post, a silent tribute to the courage that saves others from the shadows. The night was thick with tension, the kind that could be felt more than seen. The SEALs had moved deep into hostile terrain under the cloak of darkness, their every step calculated, every breath controlled. But then the mission turned. Intel had been wrong. There were more hostiles than expected, and they were already in position. Within minutes, the team was surrounded. The air filled with gunfire, dirt exploded from the ground, and visibility dropped to nothing. The men huddled behind what little cover they could find, radios crackling with desperate calls for backup. They were elite, trained to survive the worst. But this time, even the best could feel the edge of fear creeping in. Then, amidst the storm of bullets, a shot rang out, distant but deadly precise. One enemy target fell, then another. Confusion rippled through the attackers as they tried to find the source. The SEALs froze, scanning their surroundings, trying to locate the unexpected ally. The ridge to the east, previously declared empty, now came alive. A sniper was there, unseen but unmistakably skilled. The shots came rhythmically, each one timed perfectly with the SEALs' movements, creating an opening for them to reposition and regain control of the battle. Whoever it was up there, they weren't guessing. They knew exactly what they were doing. For the men on the ground, it was as if an invisible hand had reached down from the heavens to guide them. Every time they thought the end was near, another shot came from the ridge, cutting through chaos like a beacon. The sniper wasn't just saving lives, they were restoring faith. In war, when hope begins to fade, the smallest signs of order, A steady shot, a calculated move, can reignite courage, and that's exactly what happened. The seals began to fight back, emboldened by the mysterious presence above them. The rhythm of fear turned into the rhythm of teamwork once again. Hours later, when the dust settled and silence returned, they searched the ridge. But there was no one. Just spent shells, perfect in their alignment, and footprints leading to nowhere. Whoever the sniper was, they had vanished as quietly as they had appeared. It was as if the unseen savior had come only for that moment, to restore balance, to save those who still had a mission to complete. Some said it was an old teammate who had gone missing months before. Others believed it was a local ally who had been watching from afar. But no one ever knew for sure. In the end, what mattered most wasn't who pulled the trigger. It was what that act represented. The unseen savior became a legend not because of glory or recognition, but because they embodied the silent strength that every soldier hopes stands beside them in their darkest hour. Their unseen courage reminded the SEALs, and everyone who heard their story, that sometimes heroes don't need to be seen to be remembered. They exist in the silence between heartbeats, in the precision of a single shot, and in the courage that moves unseen but saves the world nonetheless. The ambush came without warning. One moment, the SEALs were moving through the ravine under the dying light of dusk, and the next, the valley erupted with enemy fire. Bullets sliced through the air, ricocheting off rocks, drowning out even the sound of commands. The team scrambled for cover, pinned down from multiple angles. Their extraction point was lost, their comms jammed, and their supply line cut. It was the kind of moment every soldier trains for but prays never to face, where training meets raw survival. The enemy had the advantage, the high ground, and the numbers. Every second stretched longer than time itself, and the thought that they might not make it home began to settle like dust in their lungs. Then, amid the chaos, it came. A single, sharp crack that cut through the battlefield like lightning across a stormy sky. One shot, clean and perfect, and the most dangerous enemy sniper collapsed where he stood. For a heartbeat, everyone, both sides, froze. That sound, that single echo rolling down from the distant ridge, carried something powerful, the reminder that they were not alone. The SEALs turned their eyes toward the source, but all they could see was the shimmering heat of the fading sun. Still, they felt it. The presence of someone unseen, someone watching over them. Moments later, another shot rang out and another, each one deliberate, each one saving a life. The team began to move again, coordinated, focused, their fear replaced with fierce determination. They didn't know who the sniper was. All they knew was that someone had their six. The echo of those shots became more than just sound. It became rhythm, a heartbeat in the distance that matched their own. Every echo guided their next move, every impact clearing their path toward safety. For the first time since the ambush began, they believed again. The sound of that rifle wasn't just tactical. It was spiritual. When they finally reached the extraction zone, the shots stopped. The world went quiet again, as if the unseen guardian had done what they came to do and vanished with the wind. Later, when a reconnaissance team swept the ridge, they found only a spent casing, polished and placed on a flat rock. No tracks, no signs of movement. Just one single bullet, shell glinting in the sunlight. It wasn't much, but for the SEALs who made it out alive, it was enough. That shell was proof that courage had a sound, one that still echoed long after the battle had ended. In the days that followed, that single shot became a symbol across the unit. Not of violence, but of precision, protection, and brotherhood. It reminded them that sometimes the smallest act can carry the loudest message. The echo of that single shot lived on. In every mission briefed, every story retold, and every silent moment before a trigger was pulled, it was the sound of courage in its purest form. unseen, uncelebrated, but unforgettable.